Well, the garden's definitely looking good. Um, I'm facing the sun, aren't I? The garden sure is looking good, and I wanted to make sure I'm adding some extra things to this, so you get to see some other things that Uncle Paul's working on um, over here at his place. And last time I recorded, I had a bunch of little yipping dogs in the background because we recorded what we're going to now, and unfortunately it didn't work out very well. So we're going to try again.
This area, what I do is I produce my own greenery, my own shrubs, trees, whatever. Uh, there's a lot of things that you can take cuttings, starting from cuttings. You can dig up some things and multiply them that way. I try to avoid going to the store to buy things. If I have stuff here that I can produce myself, I do it.
For those who don't know, Paul, could you explain what a cutting is?
Well, cutting is when you take usually the top of a shrub, and you can either dip it in solution depending on what you're cutting. There's root tone that you can add to it. The things that I do are things that are easy, and I can show you an area over here where I have some cuttings in a container, and I just stick it in sand and water and it'll root itself, and then I'll step it up into a plastic container.
Okay.
Here I have blackberries, which I have a lot of blackberries, and I make different blackberry areas, but these are all from runners. So what I'll do is I'll cut the runner and I'll put them in pots and start a new area for blackberries. I love blackberries. These are all from cuttings, which I just kind of step them up a little bit. These are also all from cuttings. These are shade plants. The plants back here with the blue flower, I forget the name of them, but they're a butterfly plant. Hope to look up the name of it, and I can't remember it. But our neighbor gave us some because there again it was from runners, and I just brought some over. I got some planted out by the fence, so maybe in the future I'll show you what they look like after they're big. These are all, this is Crotons, green and yellow croton, multicolored crotons. These I just cut from the top. Like I could take this and cut it, strip the leaves down, stick it in sandy soil with water, keep it wet, and it'll root itself and creating another plant. This is all stuff that I took cuttings from just digging it out. This I started from seed. This is powder puffs, and I started those from seed. I took the seed pod and soaked them and started them. They were really small at the time, and now they're getting bigger. Some of them I have other places, and I use them in landscape, and they get a red flower on them. This is a type of loripy grass that I just take cuttings. Like I can even take this pot, cut this in half, and that would give me two.
Okay.
These are not crepe myrtles.
Can't really think of what they are.
Remember the name of them. Come on. These, but anyway, I just dug those up.
Yeah.
These are queen palms, which I started from little cuttings. We have a queen palm tree out front, and the seeds drop and little baby palms pop up. And what I did was I grabbed some this year and put them in pots. And they're doing good. Snake plants. There again, you can just cut these in half or whatever and make more plants. Same thing with the grasses.
Oh yeah.
This canthus. You can just cut them in half, and like you could take this plant right here, take a shovel and cut it in half, and you would have two plants instead of one. And these are oak trees that I transplanted usually in January and February. I'll just go around and I'll dig some trees up that are not too big and I can handle. Put them in pots and just grow them, just in case I want to use them in the future. And I noticed the neighbor down the road, they just bought a house, and he's got oak trees like this along his driveway now.
Oh.
That's Suzanne's old house.
Yeah, down
Yeah,
to
I
the
saw
north.
little baby oak trees. I think he dug them up and planted them. I hope he didn't buy them.
Yeah, I hope not. There's plenty around.
Plenty of baby oaks. This is
Yeah.
a Washingtonia palm that I've had for quite a few years. In this pot is the butterfly plant that I'm not sure what the name is, but that's doing well.
So this would be the one with the, was it like a purplish blue flower?
Like a bluish flower, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just planted those not too long ago. And here's where the sunflowers were. You can probably tell where they were beautiful sunflower heads on here.
We'll try to imagine it.
Yeah, they were gorgeous. And there's 4 of them, but one produced two flowers. The squirrels got it and took them out. These are the Crotons that we talked about over on the side of the pole barn. And I just cut the tops off and I put them in dirt and keep it wet. And let me see if I can pull one up without doing too much damage to it. Loosen up, and it should have some roots. There's the roots on it.
Yeah.
So they basically just root themselves. And there again, it'll be a fully grown shrub eventually. But I'll put it back in for now. I just keep the soil wet, and they'll just slowly get roots on them. I don't dip them in root tone or anything. Just the tops of the shrubs, and these are all going to be new shrubs. Okay, this is the back area where we have some grapes and blackberries, and this is a different kind of grape than what's over at the garden. Over at the garden is Concord grapes. I love Concord grapes. These are muscadine, and here again this time of year the leaves are starting to turn brown, and I'll wait for them to turn brown and fall off, and then I'll prune the vines down a little bit.
No more clusters, right?
No, I ate them.
You ate them.
Yeah, they're all gone. Blackberries, they're doing great. This is what I was talking about. Here's runners. It's a weed there, but it's a runner from the plant. And what I do is I dig these out and transplant them. And instead of pulling them out and getting rid of them, I'll just make a new blackberry garden because I love blackberries. Not a very sweet berry. And there's thorns. That's why I put them up on a fence. They're easier to pick, but you still jab yourself sometimes. But I love blackberries. And here you can see little baby runners coming out here that I'll probably transplant them and start another garden someplace.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a lemon tree there. And back there is another area that I did start. And I have another area over there. And there's another area over there along the fence. But I have a lot of blackberry areas.
I think we saw the blackberries along the fence last time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we saw that. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything you wanted to close with, Paul?
No, I don't think so. I'm just really enjoying this beautiful weather that we're having, and severe clear. So you have to kind of watch. You know, if we don't get rain, then I'm going to have to use some supplemental irrigation. I try not to, but sometimes you have to. Of course, the leaves are falling this time of year. They don't fall completely, but they do drop. But what I do is I use the mower, and I instead of raking them by hand, because as you get older, it's harder to do, I let the mower do the work, and I'll just accumulate them in a pile someplace.
So Paul and I were just kind of walking back up to his house, and we noticed one of his palm plants that he had down here when he first moved, and it's getting big. Paul, do you want to kind of describe like where that thing used to sit and how big it was?
Okay, I'm not sure the name of the palm, but it used to be over here on the other side of this oak tree. It was right in that section there, and I knew it was going to get bigger, and I'm not sure why they planted it there, but I figured it's going to eventually block the view to the pond, so I wanted to transplant it. And it was probably maybe about that tall.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
And about maybe that round.
Yep.
And I dug it out, got a good root ball on it, and raised up this area because this gets wet in this area. So I raised up this area and I planted it here, and look at it, it has just taken off, and it went from there. This is probably 6 years now.
Yeah.
It went from this to this.
Yep.
In 6 years.
Look at the size of this thing. I mean, I'm putting my hand up here. That's about 8 feet where my hand's at, and it goes way higher than that. I'm standing kind of underneath it now. Yeah, the growing season down here is pretty much all year, so it just never quite stops. It looks like this has a berry on it too.
Yeah, there's a pod there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Almost looks like palmetto berries.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I guess, do most palm plants produce a berry?
I think they do. Yeah,
okay.
most of them do.
Okay. How about that?